Hey everyone, Todd here, internalarchitect.com. In this video I want to talk about, are you feeling anxious? Now before I begin, please hit subscribe below and hit the bell for notifications so you know when I'm putting out a new video. Now, are you feeling anxious? Now this is a pretty important one for us cancer survivors and patients because we are going through so much stuff and there are so many things, right, that are happening in our life all at once. And I've kind of boiled it down to a number of things. And the first one is I really feel that when my anxiety and my stress levels get at their all-time highest is when I'm trying to figure out everything that's going on at the same time. And that's what really I feel is causing most of my anxiety. Now, whether that is between setting up appointments to figuring out work to kids to family to all the above, right? There's a lot of things that causes this anxiety. And when you have so many things going on all at once, you have to learn to kind of bring it back down. You have to start really figuring out ways that you can start just simplifying how all these decisions are getting made. And the best way that I've figured out, and there's 5 ways that I have kind of boiled it all down to, and I'm going to go through each one of these, but I find that as I apply these 5 principles, it really helps with really bringing the anxiety and the calmness back down and being able to just allow you to feel the feelings that are going on and also deal with the decisions that need to be dealt at that time. Now, this has really kind of been one that I've wanted to talk about for a little bit because I'm coming up on my second treatment for my reoccurrence. And when you get, and I'm pretty sure I can relate to pretty much all of you that have been through cancer or are going through cancer right now, that when each treatment comes closer and closer to that date of infusion, you start to really feel the anxiety start to build because you know what you're about to go through. And that kind of goes along with scans and other things, tests and stuff that you go through also, because the scans really kind of help determine where your cancer's at. And if you've been a survivor for a while and you haven't had a reoccurrence, you get the scans to make sure that the cancer hasn't come back. So each time you go in for a scan, you just start to feel the anxiety of like, okay, let's, and you start praying and you start really, just wishing for a clear bill of health again. So these are all the things that really kind of happen. And I've been feeling it again coming up to this next treatment over the last 2 or 3 days, just knowing that I'm going to be going in for another round of treatment. And that's really kind of where I'm feeling at. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is my second reoccurrence with Hodgkin's. And so each time, obviously, it doesn't get any easier, but I think it's the easiest way to put it is I'm a little bit more experienced, so I kind of know what to expect, and that's really important in a lot of regards. And that's why I try to share this information with you, is so you know that there's someone out there that totally gets what you're going through. So I want to talk about these 5 things, and the first one is you must take a step back, right? And you must kind of you kind of have to do this just to kind of take a look at the entire macro picture of everything that's going on, right? You need, and maybe this is a good time. I've written it down. I've talked it out with people, my wife and family, and just to kind of help kind of put everything in perspective is all the things that are going on. Now, whether that is, the treatment regimens that are going on, to family things, like I had my father pass away in the last week, to work situations and say issues or just work in general, to disputes that you might be having with friends. I mean, the list could go on and on, right? And it doesn't really matter, but all these things are really important to you, and it's important to take that step back and really look at that macro picture of everything that's going on. And that kind of leads me into the second thing, and that is to just breathe. And that is to, again, take that step back and start taking some deep breaths and start getting some oxygen flowing, and remember to breathe and breathe deeply, because that really helps with kind of calming your heart down, calming your heart, well, your heart rate and also your blood pressure. And that will help deal with a little bit of anxiety right at the get-go, because as you kind of deal with the anxiety and all the things that are going on, you need to start kind of slowing it down and figuring out how you can simplify all these different decisions and all these different situations that are going on in your world. And that's when, that kind of, I think that's kind of what leads me to number 3. And that is, when you're overwhelmed, you got to take it day by day. And so when you take that step back and you start to breathe, and then you can kind of start to visualize. And that's why I do like writing things down, because it helps you visualize everything that's going on. You're able to kind of, when you step back, you breathe, you can kind of take a look at it from a day-to-day standpoint, and you can start kind of making decisions and building a hierarchy of importance in the situations and all the different pieces of your life, and you can start kind of systematically making decisions on everything that goes on. And that kind of will help structure a little bit of your life and things that are really feeling frustrating and that might be causing you the anxiety. Now, I know these are things that are kind of hard to explain, just in a video or whatever, but this takes a little bit of practice and it takes a little bit of work. But that also kind of leads me into the fourth thing, and I'm a huge proponent of this because I have learned that it's really important to be active and get your body moving, get your circulation going, and that's where sport really comes into play. I think it's hugely important, especially as a cancer survivor after you've gone through treatment, to find something that makes you really want to get out and make you want to do something that is physically good for you. 2 reasons. 1, it creates a different type of stress that makes you actually feel good. And 2, it does get your heart rate up and it gets the endorphins going within your body. And that is just huge in the relief of stress that goes on in your life. And that also creates a way to battle the anxiety that you are dealing with too. So sport is a huge one. And I know it's tough because you got to find the time to do it. And I found that I just got to do it. I just got to take an hour to 2 hours and just disappear from my family and the world, and just be out on my own and listen to music and do whatever. And it's a way to help me kind of adjust everything that's going on in my head. And every single time I come back after a bike ride, or if I get out to walk Enzo, my dog, I feel so much better because I've done something that was physically active. I got my blood flowing, I got my circulation going, and it just feels really good. And then I can start kind of taking that macro picture again and start kind of working through all these different situations that are being presented in my life. And that kind of leads me to the last thing, and that's number 5, and that is, it is okay to seek professional help. I am a huge proponent of making sure that survivors and patients, cancer patients and survivors, actually do go get professional help to work on the mental health of themselves, because there's so many things that go on as a survivor and as a patient that you may not have answers to, but you kind of bury a lot of that stuff. And the mental health of us is super, super important. And I want you to know that there is no stigma of you going to a professional to get some help. And it might take a little time, it might take some patience for you to find the right person that you can click with, but it's hugely important. And it's a way to start kind of working through a lot of the things that are buried that might be subconsciously causing a lot of your anxiety and a lot of your just stress that could be bottled up. And so those 5 things in itself are hugely important for you to start helping yourself work through these issues and that could be causing the anxiety. So that is my biggest thing. That's what I want to talk about today, and just kind of go over these 5 things, because these 5 things, this framework has been really good at helping me kind of get through the daily stresses, that kind of constantly are being challenged every single day in my life. So yeah, if you have any questions, by all means hit me in the comment section below, and I'll respond to you as soon as I can. And I just remember, our mental health is just as important as our physical health, and that's why dealing with anxiety and dealing with stress are huge importance when you're going through cancer. And there are a lot of other resources that you can actually get and utilize as a patient going through treatment. So yeah, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, hit me in the comment section below. And I just want to say thank you very much. I appreciate your time and energy into watching the videos, and I will see you on the next one.